Guys, in this video, I'm basically going to walk you through how to start setting up with Supermetrics and putting that data into something that's actually really presentable, or more like when your client is going to see your report that is sent to them at the end of the month, or whenever your processes and systems are supposed to be. Could be in the middle of the month, or however you want to handle it. When it goes through, it looks very professional and it adds value to your service. So for me, I am recording this as a Facebook advertiser. So if you are watching this, it's likely you are one, or possibly someone that want to extract data from your reporting dashboard that has a lot of useful info, but it would be hard to translate that into something that is a little bit more efficient if you're doing it on a repetitive way to show your clients every month or ever so often as you have your processes set up. So Supermetrics is a platform or tool that is available online and is one of the most recommended out there. I actually also came across it because it was something that was recommended. So you see on the screen right now, I'm on Supermetrics. So let's just click over to the home page so you can have a look. It does have a lot of trusted brands, as you can see, that use Supermetrics. So it has a lot going for it. And you can basically start out on a free trial so you can test it out. The pricing, they used to be in USD, but they are now in pounds. So I actually moved away from Supermetrics, I think about a month and a bit ago, because I found something else that basically was doing what Supermetrics did for much cheaper price. It just meant that I had to do some other setup elsewhere. But I'm showing you this because it actually does a whole lot more. And it's often the one that people would opt for. Perhaps sometime in the future I possibly would come back and check it out. Now you can see the pricing here. It starts at $39 per month. I believe this is if you were actually using an annual plan. And there's also the Google Sheets. When I started with Supermetrics, I went straight for the one that was easy to get into, and that's Data Studio. If you're an advanced person, you possibly just want to extract straight away into Google Sheets so you can do a little bit more. So if you're starting out, perhaps you might want to try the Google Data Studio. And you can see the pricing here. If you want to go for monthly payments, this is how much, and 3 accounts per data source. If you want to go yearly, this is what you go for as well. All right. So if we're going to try this out, you can just go straight to start trial. And once you are starting your trial, you can select which one you're going for. So I'm going to choose the Supermetrics for Data Studio. All right, and as you can see, there's a whole bunch of icons that represents the different platforms that you might be advertising on behalf of your clients. So, or have reporting stats that could be helpful. So for you, if you are watching this, most likely you might be a Facebook ads person, because that's sort of the circles that I'm in and possibly sharing this on. So you can click here on the Facebook ads button to try. You could also perhaps try analytics. You know, there's a whole bunch here. The Instagram insights, the LinkedIn ads. So you'll see there's a whole bunch. There's MailChimp here as well. So what I'm going to do here is actually just focus on the Facebook ads. So I'm going to click try over here. And now it redirects us into the Google Data Studio, right? So at the moment, it's now redirecting us to Google Data Studio and asking for the connection and prompting me with what should I allow. All right, so we can basically go through and select the different accounts. I'm actually going to go with the default currently with Facebook. Reporting time zone, I am based in New Zealand, so I am just going to search for the New Zealand time zone. So scroll down. I think I'm getting close. There's Fiji over there, there's Sydney, Auckland, that's the one. Reporting of action, so you can set the reporting to be on the impression date or on the conversion date. So I'm going to choose the conversion date, but also tick this box to allow me to modify that based on the report. And I'm going to do the same for this one and this one, this one. Selecting the accounts. So what I'm going to do with this one is actually just select just very some old accounts here as an example, just that we're not going to be looking into live accounts. So I'm selecting an old account there, and I'm going to click here. I'm just going to Facebook, click connect here and allow, and we wait for it to do its thing. So now one of the things I want you to take note of, so depending on the frequency of your data as you're beginning, most likely this data freshness won't affect you at all. If you're doing the reporting every month, you know, this 12 hours is not going to matter as much. Some Facebook marketers might want something that's like every hour or so. So they possibly will not be watching this if you already know how to do that. So so the data, yeah, just take a note that the data freshness is every 12 hours. Let's just have a click through just to check. I was checking to see if we can actually change that frequency somehow. All right, so everything else I tended to leave them as is. I did not do anything else different. I would then go to create report and click create. All right. So as we're waiting for it to load, we can see that there is a default template by Supermetrics that is given to us over here. Now, one of the things I also want to mention is that Google Data Studio actually has a whole bunch of templates that you can choose as well, but for now we can just stick with this and just change this template to suit you. Okay, so for example, you could change this over. You can take off this logo and replace it with your logo or something like that. Possibly just maybe change this to your client's name. So company name, and just make it like personalized according to them. You can also then click through here on the date range, and we can see that it starts from the 1st of January till today. You can make this like set to per month and so on. We can also see it's got little sections here for things like the costs and impressions, clicks, and so on. Now, we can see on this side, it says page 1, this is the overview. Page 2, it's got the breakdown. So that means there's actually 3 pages. And we can see up here, page 2, and then page 3, it's given us the instructions. So it's actually quite nice that they've added some instructions here to help beginners to set this up, right? So what I'm going to do next is actually go and define where the source of the information is coming from. Okay, so as I click through, notice, okay, as I'm clicking through these various areas, on the right hand side it has 2 tabs, one called data, one called style. All right, So I'm clicking through these. That basically tells us where is this data that is showing on the screen, where is it being fed from? What is the information that is appearing on these graphs? Where is it getting the data to create that graph? Okay, so that's what happens as you click through. You can also go up to File, and then up here you will have Report Settings as an option. So click on Report Settings. Now, when you clicked on Report Settings, on this area here, you can see it says Report Settings, Data Source, Facebook Data Source. Okay, so if I click on that pencil icon, it will bring us with the data source here. Awesome. It's what we connected earlier. I usually just leave the Google Analytics like so here. I haven't used this before. So basically, I suppose if you can track who's like viewed the report and so on. You can also enable viewer filters in the report if you wanted to. I believe I usually like leave this off, but there were some clients where I enabled this for them to filter the report stuff. So I'm going to leave that as is. Now, as we scroll down further, I can see here, couldn't save this report. Okay, cool. All right, I can see here in the parameters, it's gone to the defaults that we currently set in the previous setting that I showed you before. All right, so that's been set up. Now, what I want to go to next is go back up to the date here, because I know this account doesn't have anything at all that started running there this year. It's a pretty old account. So as you can see, I'm selecting the date range. I want to go here then and select what date range I want to include. So I'm going to go to the advanced, and I'm going to have a look here and see if I can change this to a certain date. Okay, start date. Okay, is it not giving us something? Right, I have to click here on fixed. Now I see. So I want to change the year. Scroll through to change the year. I'm just going to pull this number, January the 1st 2010, apply, and then see what happens. All right, we can see now that this is actually now doing something at least. So it says the dataset configuration, there's a data configuration error. So what we can do is click through these different areas and scroll through to have a look. Now we can see here that date range is actually correct, which is good. Okay. The date dimension. Okay. Amount spent, CPM. What was here before? Okay. All right, while it's thinking about it, what I might do in the meantime also is actually pull in a report on something that actually is currently live to make this a little bit easier. Okay, so let me just pause this and I'll go and do that. All right, so just continuing this report here. What I did before, okay, I'm just going to pull this up a bit, was I went into the data source. I've just renamed it Supermetrics, and actually edit the connection. And what I did was change the ad account that the data was being pulled from, so that we can actually show you something up in the front end. So could be client company name here, and you can add your own logo up here. We can now see that the dates I've got is just back to the data range that was originally there, and this is like an account that's live at the moment, so that's why it's pulling all of that. What we can see also is some of the information that is being pulled through, so which is quite good. The no data basically means it is not using a comparison to compare it to a previous date. So I am thinking, just looking at this, it's like conversion, cost per conversion. If you wanted to go in and edit some of these settings, because this is all by default, country by conversion, that's all New Zealand, of course, because it's in New Zealand. Let's have a look at the second page, the breakdown. Okay, so in here we can see like Android, smartphone, the type of device, where the sales are coming in from, the age breakdown, and some other bits of information here. All right, so objective. So it's really like all this stuff here is all set up by default, and you can actually just change it according to what you want to report. So like this one here is by age breakdown, and we can see a massive one by these three colors. They're kind of like evenly distributed. So this one here, 26, it's based on the different reports. So although it says age breakdown here, it's actually breaking it down by campaign name. So you can actually go to define or double check these by clicking into that graph or data area, and that brings up the data side here. And then you can go into the dimensions or all the settings that you see here and actually have a play around with it and see what changes on the other side. So for this one, I am going to search for age rather and see if it was actually to, yeah, here we go. It's able to pull that through. Brilliant. So now we can see that the age group is rather large, around 39.1 and 37.4, which is the ages 25 all the way up to 44. So that is actually the correct way I would set that up. So this is age breakdown by impressions. So we could also go by sales or purchase. See if we can get that. Oh yeah, right. So sort by impressions, sort by website purchases. They're on the same. It's pretty much the same. Okay, that's all right. Now click into the gender. Again, this looks like to be defined by the campaign. So I would go into this area and say gender. Massively female. And then impressions, of course, I would leave it at impressions, which is fine. The objectives over here, we can see website conversions, website conversion value, actions. Okay, cool. And then if I go back into the front page, page 1, we can see the different graphs here. So just make sure you're checking your report by clicking into the data that is being displayed and checking to make sure that that is actually what's showing, so that what you're putting on the report is the same. So once you're happy with that, what you can do next, to set the report to as a regular schedule, so we click here on the share. Now you can go here and then share this with your client, and who else. I'm gonna click here on the refresh, and also as you can see here on the drop down box here, what you can do is also schedule a email delivery of that report, to be, let's say, okay, it's sending it to me and it's sending all the pages, or if you want to only send page 1 and page 2, because page 3 is instructions, for you. So you can actually then send this to your client's email and yourself, and you can set the time and the date, and also whether you want to send that monthly, or you can put it like custom every however many days. So if it's monthly on the last Wednesday, or maybe custom and set that to be the first day of the month, or month of every first okay, let me just click here to check monthly on the last Wednesday, weekly, every weekday. So let me go there again, month on the 24th day on the last Wednesday. All right, because it's identifying the time that I've got here, the start time. So if I change this to be the 1st of next month, then at least the field here will also adjust accordingly. So so here you can say every 1st of the month on the 1st day, or if it's every 1st month on the 1st Monday. So if like the 1st of the month fell on a Thursday, it means the report will go out the following week on that 1st Monday. Yeah, hope that makes sense. So for me, I possibly would not even worry what day it falls on the 1st. I would just put it on the 1st day of the month, and then I would schedule that, and then that means that goes out every month on the 1st day, right? And you just get this data. This data will refresh accordingly, and there you go. That's your report done. All right, I hope that has been helpful. Leave a comment or give us a like, subscribe, whatever. I really appreciate that. Thank you.